The Dog and Deuce Show is produced by Dymar Productions in association with Studio B Productions.
Coming to you from the headquarters of Studio B in Salt Lake City, always a runner-up, never a champion. This is Dog and Deuce number 123. On this episode, we'll talk about the beatdown that BYU put on the Longhorns, Utah dominating Fresno State, and the Aggies rebounding against Idaho State. Plus, could Roger Goodell be out of a job soon? It's Dog and Deuce.
This is Ricky Williams, and you're listening to Dog and Deuce.
From Studio B in Salt Lake City, this is Dog and Deuce. Join the conversation at doganddeuce.com or send an email to doganddeuce@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening to episode 123 of the Dog and Deuce Show. Follow along with the show notes at doganddeuce.com.
You can call or text the D&D Show voicemail and text line at 801-477-7678. That's 801-47-SPORT. Send us an email to doganddeuce@gmail.com. I'm Dog.
And I'm Deuce.
And this is episode 123 of Dog and Deuce. Welcome on in to viewers on K-Powder Television, channels 19.1, 19.2, and 19.6. We've been upgraded. We got a promotion.
Yep.
Got a promotion.
Promotion.
Plus we are at doganddeuce.com. That's the easiest way to get in touch with us. Find out all of our links, all of our good stuff. And also on YouTube, youtube.com/DD on sports. I got a surprise for you.
You got a surprise.
Give me 1 second. Entertain the folks for 2 seconds, please.
Okay. Well, it was quite a week across all of the college football. What?
Yeah. I'm rocking.
My man.
Rocking the Cubs hat.
There
baby.
it is. Welcome back.
Rocking the Cubs hat.
Welcome back to fan purgatory or hell, depending
That's
on
right.
how you look at it, what religion you are.
Exactly. I got the Cubs hat. I do want to reset this for people who don't know. This hat that I'm wearing right now, Chicago Cubs, the blue with the red C.
Yeah.
This
quality.
this bought me a ticket to the World Series if, that's a big if,
In 2062.
if the Cubs ever get to the World Series.
Yep.
You told me that if I got a Cubs hat, wore it regularly, that you would buy me a ticket to the World Series when the Cubs get there.
That's right.
And I got it.
Hey, man, it looks good on you.
I want to admit one thing, though.
What's that?
This is not a new hat. This is the hat that I bought originally years and years
Wow.
ago when you made this proposition to me.
Where'd you get that from?
I was digging in my closet. I was literally getting ready to go to the mall today, head over to Fans to pick
Right.
up a Cubs hat. And I'm like, I know I have one.
Right.
And know I have one. And
Yeah,
so
you
I
don't-
dug through my closet. I got up there on the top shelf, dug through all my old hats, and bam, sitting right there.
Well, man, you just made my day. I was shocked.
There you
I was
go.
waiting until
Yeah.
next week to be impressed, but
Yeah.
call me impressed
I did
tonight.
I did it.
You look good in blue.
Yeah. Oh man, that's the first time anyone's ever said that to me and not died.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. So I got a ticket to the
Congratulations.
World Series, which will probably never happen.
It might be throwing me off, though, a little, because normally I don't see a bill
Right.
quite that late.
Well, that was part of the stipulation. I can't wear it backwards.
That's true.
When I wear billed hats, I typically wear them backwards.
That's true.
So,
You're looking good.
yeah, styling, right? Yeah.
You don't look like Steve Bartman, so that's a positive.
That's well, I got the headphones on. Got the headphones and the Cubs hat.
Right. Where's the glasses,
Right.
man?
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, man.
I mean, I'll obviously pay up on that bet, but I'm not sure should it occur. Although Theo Epson's doing a good job with the young group in Chicago, it might happen.
Yeah,
It
right.
might happen.
Yeah.
I'm giving it 3 years.
Always next year, right?
3 years. It is 2014.
3
By
years.
2017, they'll be at least in the World Series.
I
You
hope
heard
so.
it here first.
All right. That's a bold prediction.
Yeah, I know.
We're known to make bold predictions here on this show.
And look stupid afterwards.
And look very stupid afterwards. That is definitely true. We've got a huge, huge show. I mean, giant. So giant today. There's been a lot of talk. First of all, locally, the local schools are 3-0 over this last weekend. We're going to break down those games. Plus, Roger Goodell is screwed. There's no other way to put it. He is dead where he stands. He's a dead man walking. But let's start off with college football. BYU went in to Austin, Texas, and they just, I mean, I don't even know I don't even know what you should call it. It was a beatdown. It was, they pummeled the Longhorns. They took them to the woodshed.
It's not often you go down to Austin, Texas, and I think it's like Darrell Royal Stadium. Darrell Royal, great Texas coach. And it's not often you drop 41 and Texas only has 7. It doesn't matter whether you play in the Big 12, the SEC, or whatever. It's a tough place to play. And let's be honest, whether you're a Ute fan, Utah State fan, or BYU fan, you got to be impressed by the way the Cougars went into Austin and just took it to him.
100%.
Look, David Ash didn't play at quarterback, so we knew Texas was going to be struggling. Despite that, both of us last week picked Texas to win because we were relying on this so-called vaunted defense. I know they were young, but they had a lot of good players at the skill positions. And look, Taysom Hill and the offensive line and the receiving core just made them look stupid. I don't even know how,
And I don't want to sound like I'm taking anything away from BYU because I'm not, man. To do what they did, I mean, it is incredible. And that is a huge win. That's a program-defining win right there. I mean, that's beating Oklahoma. That was incredible. But Texas clearly is not as good as we thought they were.
Well, and they're
is that
young.
fair to say? I mean, obviously BYU had a whole lot to do with that. Don't get me wrong. They really made them look dumb. They made them look terrible. But at the same time, they are young and they're inexperienced, and I think that's a big part of it. I definitely think you'll see them improve as the season goes on. This win is going to look better and better and better, I think.
And I think it did last year. Texas,
Definitely.
ended up playing well in the Big 12 schedule, beating Oklahoma, and it helped the Cougars nationally. I think you're going to see the same result this year if the Cougars can keep winning. Although somewhat alarming to me about the Cougars is they didn't do a whole lot through the air. If you're going to get picky in a 41-7 win, it was mostly on the ground with Hill, Williams, and everyone who even touched the ball.
And that's what surprised me. I didn't think for a second, and I think I said this last week, I didn't think for a second that Texas would let Taysom Hill run them into the ground again. I just didn't think 2 years in a row that they would be that dumb. But apparently they did. I mean, I thought for sure they'd make him beat him with his arm.
Yeah.
Because, he threw it really well against UConn, but still against a quality team, he's kind of unproven what he can do with his arm. So I didn't think for a second that they'd just let him run all over him. But that said, he had a lot to do with it. I mean, some of those runs were incredible. Jumping over defenders, spinning around guys. It was incredible. Hurdling.
Don't you think no matter what happens, and almost in a way for Taysom Hill, he couldn't have asked for a better, and it's been talked about a lot, whether it's in Provo or along the Wasatch Front, a possible run for Heisman. And I know it's early, but if you could get a picture in the first 2 games of the year, you hurdling a Texas Longhorn defensive back at Darrell Royal Stadium would be a good start to a Heisman run.
Definitely.
I mean, and it's early.
Well, it's a way to put him on the map. I mean,
right.
Obviously they've got the ESPN games, so he's got plenty of chance to do it, but that is a good way to do it. That's a great way to do it. And he is on the radar officially, 100%. The Cougars are now ranked, which is good. They knocked Texas out of the rankings. This is I can't understate how big of a win this is for BYU. Cougar fans should be happy. Absolutely should be happy. They should be thrilled. I mean, it looks like BYU has put together finally a team that is going to, it's early, but it looks to me that they're going to be consistent and consistently good. And honestly, with the schedule's looking easier and easier. I was actually sticking up for it earlier in the preseason, but honestly, the way they're playing right now, I don't see them having a problem with really anyone except maybe Central Florida.
Look, it's early. Nevada's played really well in their first 2 games.
True.
I'm not going to count out the Wolfpack, and we still got to see what they do. Look, this was you could feel the sense of urgency from within the program, outside the program, in the fan base. BYU, the team, the school, and the fans really wanted to go down to Austin and prove that last year wasn't a fluke.
Definitely.
Now, the question begins now for me, are we going to get real answers? And that is, can you respond 5 days later, tomorrow? By the time you hear this, it'll be the weekend. But Thursday night, can they respond versus Houston and what's sure to be an emotional tribute for 9/11 Remembrance Day? Can they respond, against Central Florida? They still got Virginia, who looked really good against UCLA week 1.
And Utah State is not looking very good right now, but still, that's a rivalry game. It's been close in recent years. That could be trouble. I mean, it's not going to be a cakewalk by any stretch of the imagination, but the way they're playing right now, honestly, I don't have them losing. I mean, Central Florida will be tough on the road for sure. UCF will be tough, but I don't see them struggling with really anyone right now. And here's a question, and I hate to start poking holes in this thing, but Bronco Mendenhall has had this kind of talent before. This is not the most talented team he's coached. So why is it just he's more experienced? Why is it taking him this long, at least, to put together a team that looks this good 2 games in?
Well, I mean, I think, if you're a BYU fan or supporter, they're going to say, we look this good when we beat Oklahoma. It's early. I don't know. I want to caution BYU fans, although the schedule looks easier after you go into Austin and stomp out the Longhorns, it's still going to be tougher than you might think. 12-0, although it looks realistic, it still is difficult to achieve. An injury here, an injury there, a suspension.
If Taysom Hill goes
know.
down, you're done.
The thing I would be most happy about if I was BYU, a fan base or the team, is the defense played really well. I mean, let's be honest. Going into halftime at Texas Stadium, they were only scored 2 field goals in that third quarter. They really broke out. 4 turnovers in the game, only like 260 yards, gained by the Texas offense throughout the whole game. One of the big question marks for me, I thought they'd be good on offense, with Taysom Hill and Jamal Williams and Rosapo, those guys. The real question mark for me was, where would the defense be losing some of the stars, whether it's Hadley, Van Noy, and those guys? And through 2 weeks, they've played pretty well.
Well, definitely. And when we talked to Phil Steele, we asked him that question. How are they going to respond to losing some key members of that defense? And he said he didn't see them struggling much at all. I mean, and honestly, hindsight obviously is always 20/20, but I wouldn't expect much different from a Bronco Mendenhall defense. I mean, say what you will about some of his struggles as a head coach, and yeah, he's got him to 10 wins, and he's had some success, but he's also underachieved at times too. Struggled to beat some big name teams and whatnot. So, but one thing you could always say is that when he took over that defense, he turned them into a machine. I mean, this has been a solid defensive team every year that he's been the coordinator. Every single year, ever since he took over that defense, they've been they've just been dominant, no matter who they come up against. So it's tough to lose some big names, but still, he's done very, very well on that end of the ball.
Yeah, and I mean, that's his specialty. And ever since he's taken over, they've gradually improved and become better and better. A lot of it has to do with the talent, and, we'll see if they can keep doing that. There's still some stiff challenges ahead.
Sure.
And, let's be honest, Houston is a different team. They play them tomorrow night. It's different from Texas. They're going to spread you out. They're going to sling it around. These are the sort of teams that in the past have BYU's defenses typically struggled against, and that's because sometimes the defensive back core is really shallow.
Sure.
In the sense that they have 1 or 2 guys who are pretty good. Some of the other ones might not make a Division I team necessarily, or playing out of position. So, although I expect them to beat Houston, I think it's going to be a bigger challenge than maybe even Texas. We'll see. It's in Provo, which helps them. The elevation does help get some of those Texas boys up here to the high air of the Rocky Mountains, and they start to struggle.
That's right.
I got BYU winning this week. I guess we should point out they're wearing some special helmets, white with red, white, and blue in the Y, and then they have a tribute sticker to the 9/11 remembrance we will never forget. Stadium's all decked out for that sort of celebration or memorial. It's pretty exciting stuff, and they should be really happy playing on this stage. Here's become another signature moment in Taysom Hill and BYU season. I am worried, though. Honestly, you see tweets, you see reports, if you read the paper or online, that they really think they have something special. And while I can appreciate that and value that the team should think that way, it's not uncommon for BYU through 2 games to have this thought frequently after 2 wins.
Very true. Very true.
And so my only concern is, let's learn from the past. Don't put too much pressure.
Don't put the cart before the horse. And I totally agree with that 100%. I mean, and you saw a lot of BYU fans frankly gloating.
Right.
And I saw some tweets on Twitter, and I want to say this. It was a very vocal minority, but it was a minority who were rubbing it in the face of Ute fans for some reason. I don't quite understand it. Yeah, get excited. Definitely get excited. You should be happy about this. Without a doubt. It was a big win. But just tame your optimism a bit. Just bring it back a little bit. Don't put the cart before the horse, because we have seen similar situations. Granted, we haven't seen them go on the road, like a true road game. Oklahoma was on a neutral field.
Right.
A true road game, go in and beat a signature team. This is that win. This is the win that Bronco Mendenhall's been waiting. Man, when did he take over? 10 years ago? Something
It is
like that?
10 years
It's
ago,
been
yeah.
about 10 years that he's been waiting for this win. So enjoy it. You definitely should enjoy it. Enjoy, all the hype that Taysom Hill's getting right now. But don't go crazy. Just taper it a bit. Just lower your expectations just a bit, because the schedule does look easier, but it's definitely not a cakewalk.
And I mean, this will be, I think we'll really find out sort of the mettle of this team.
For sure. For sure.
5-day bounce back against a team that's going to make you run, make you spread them out. What will the defense have to offer? 4 turnovers, only 250 yards gained by Texas. Can they have a similar performance against Houston? Can Taysom Hill, how long will the offense have the ball? There's so many variables when you have an offense that plays similar to you. If you start turning it over, we've seen this in the past. While the up-tempo offense is good, you also have to keep possession. They get a few 3-and-outs. Houston gets a few scores. Defense is on the field for a long time. Offense isn't. Houston can get you.
Definitely.
They might not be able to stop you from scoring, but they can get you on the offensive
Definitely.
side. It's going to be an interesting game. I'm going with the Cougars. I'm going to say 35-17.
Okay, that's fair. I think it's going to be not even that close.
And let me remind you, my 8-4 prediction for the season is looking bad.
It's looking really bad.
I need one of these teams to jump up and bite them if I'm going to look at least halfway smart.
My 10-2 is looking pretty bad actually right now.
No, it's looking more appropriate.
It's looking
than 8-4.
much more appropriate than 8-4.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm going to say, I'm going to go 41-10.
Wow. You think it continues? You think there
I do.
won't be struggles?
I really
Taysom Hill
do.
did have an interception last week. That should be pointed out. Well,
So what? He
if they stop the run, a team that plays, here's the thing.
but that's easier said than done. You're not going to be able to stop him that easily. That's why they call it a scramble, because it's when a play breaks down, and when a quarterback can get it done with his legs when a play breaks down. Oh, and even if he doesn't scramble, he just starts rushing to buy himself time. He's even showed improvement on that front. He's very dangerous right now. I don't know if he's Heisman dangerous. All right, I'm not going to go that far, but he's very, very dangerous right now. This is a quarterback that they've been waiting for a long time, and I'm buying into the hype. I'm not going to go Heisman by any stretch of the imagination right now, but I am buying into the hype. What I've seen from him so far in these 2 opening games have been I'm very, very impressed.
That's why you're wearing the blue Cubs hat tonight.
Oh, man,
Buying
you're
the
making me
hype,
want to take this off.
drinking the Kool-Aid.
Look,
You're
man.
on it, man.
You know what?
What did you say, 41-10?
41-10.
You don't think that offense of Houston's going to score any more
No,
than that?
not on this not on this defense.
Oh, man.
That defense is good. Is really good.
Really
good.
I'm not willing to say that so much quite yet.
Dude, they almost shut out Texas. It was as good as a goose egg. It was as good as a shutout, as far as I'm concerned. They almost shut out Texas in Austin.
Right.
In Austin.
I hear you.
That's a good damn defense.
We'll see.
All
We'll
right.
see.
All right.
We'll see. Spread them out. We'll see how they cover when there's 5 receivers.
Okay.
That's the
But
thing.
the best part
the
right now.
offensive scheme that they're going against is different than what Texas tries to do.
Sure.
Week in and week out.
But you know what? I've seen it week in and week out with Bronco Mendenhall coach defenses. I've seen it ever since he took over that defense. They've been dominant against every opponent they faced almost. They've been dominant. Even the games they've lost, it's been a defensive battle.
We'll see. We'll see what week 3
I
has
totally,
to offer.
seriously.
You think they're going to score 10 points. I think they're going to score 17.
So we're not that far off.
Yeah. But you say they're going to score 41, right?
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
At some point,
41's on the low end. I'm being conservative with that.
Wow.
I swear. I'm telling you, man.
We'll see who's right. We were both wrong last week.
The best part, though,
it makes for a good viewing tonight because I'm going to be tomorrow night. I'm going to be tweeting you.
Every single viewer and listener right now, they already know what happened. So they're saying, Dog is a genius.
Yeah.
He is a genius.
They're saying, gosh.
What the hell is Deuce thinking, man?
No, they're saying he should have put the paperboy hat on. He sounded a lot smarter.
Man,
a lot smarter.
No.
We'll see.
We'll see. All right, let's move on. Let's play a quick bumper and we'll be right back. It's Dog and Deuce on Cape Adder Television and doganddeuce.com.
We want to know what you think. Leave us a rating or review in iTunes. Just search for Dog and Deuce in the iTunes store.
What did you say, 37-17?
I said 35-17.
35-17. We're still not that far off on the
We're not,
anyway,
but I think 41's a lot.
All
I think 41's a lot.
Check us out on iTunes. That's a great way to download the show. It's also a way where you can subscribe to the show, and it'll automatically download every time we put up a new episode. That's just the audio feed, not the video feed. And you can also, if you go there, it really helps us out. If you leave a 1 to 5 star rating or even write us a quick review and tell us what you think of the show. Love it, hate it. We still want to hear what you have to say. It's valuable feedback for us, and we really appreciate everyone who's done that. So head over to iTunes, search for Dog and Deuce, and let us know what you think. All right, the Utes just put a beat down on Fresno State. Fresno State's down for sure. So, I mean, I'm asking you, how much stock do you put in this win?
I mean, here's the thing. It's a win's a win's a win. But there are things, if you want to get picky, we can look at 59-27. The Utes haven't scored below 50 points through 2 games this year. 15 points through 2 games. That's impressive. The competition has been somewhat weak. They gave up 27.
Still, but with the offenses that the Utes have had in recent years, you got to be optimistic about that.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I think some of the answers come in 2 weeks as they head to Michigan. They finally got their first turnover. They finally got their first turnover this week, which was, I appreciate, I think his name is Ryan Heinhold, I believe, corrected me on Twitter. I still expected to see more through 2 games, given the competition that the Utes have faced. I was thinking more in the 4 range.
Yeah, but did you think Fresno State would be that bad? I didn't think they'd be that bad.
Well, there were times where they moved on us in the air.
Right.
They couldn't run the ball, and that was the big part of their problem. But when they went there, they had some chances. Look.
But a lot of their scoring was done against the second team.
Yeah, and they still had some chances against their first team and missed the throws.
True.
Some of those quarterbacks in the Pac-12 and maybe even Devin Gardner from Michigan might not, although Michigan did get stomped by Notre Dame.
They got shut out.
Yeah, last week. It's good for I think the bye, although it infuriates me to be week 3, comes at a good time.
Well, first bye.
Yeah, first bye. Comes at a good time for the University of Utah to kind of gather their team and say, look, we're 2-0. We're where we wanted to be. There's goals yet that we want to achieve. Let's not get too high on our horse. I think I would have the same message if I was both Bronco and Kyle Whittingham heading into my next games. You know, obviously BYU's a Sooner, but the message would be, well, we've done what we wanted to do, expected to do. Now the real challenge starts. Now we have people who might not, and I'm not saying BYU necessarily as this is the case, but some teams might overlook the Utes, especially in the Pac-12.
Sure.
You know, they win at Michigan in 2 weeks, and that might not be an issue. Look, USC is looking at Utah and saying, wow, you did exactly what we did, but allowed more points. Good job.
Right.
We'll see you on October 25th.
It's a fairly good barometer. It's about all we have right now.
Yeah, well, you can only have the barometer of what we've paid. I mean, again, I just expected, the real thing for me is the turnovers. I expected more. They had 283 yards passing. I don't know. It was a good win. You know, I should point out that the Vegas line didn't have us winning by this much, and we covered that. I don't know. I mean, what is there to say when it's just a stomp like that?
Well, sure, but to me, it makes me optimistic. It does. I mean, I don't want to put too much stock in it. Fresno State. Here's the thing, and this has really been bothering me. It's hard for me to believe that Fresno State's program has just tanked that quickly. Because that's a hard thing to do. I know they lost David Carr, and that's a big, big loss. But still, to tank that much in 1 year is baffling to me. I don't think they're that bad, which tells me that the Utes are a lot better than we expected. And I understand Idaho State week 1, You can't put anything. You can't put any stock in that because it's an FCS team. It's not even close to the same competition. But to see them do that against Fresno State, it's just been a good program recently, a very good program. To me, the most optimistic part is that they were putting up points. The offense looked good.
See, I mean, oh man, I'm happy, I'm impressed, but I don't want to read too much into it. I mean, let's be honest. Travis Wilson was 11 for 20. He had 5 touchdowns. He didn't play much of the second half, but 11 to 20, and he had 41 yards. So I mean, 5 of his 11 passes were touchdowns. Some of these guys were running wide open. So I mean, it's good he completed the pass. I will say the one pass I was impressed with early or mid-second to late second quarter, he threw a touchdown to Drez Anderson at the back of the end zone on the money in a tough scenario. That was the one that impressed me most. And the other thing that impressed me most, even though I'm giving the defense a hard time for not causing a lot of turnovers, they did have 7 sacks, which, you know what, if you're going to play well in the Pac-12, you got to get after the quarterback. It helps eliminate some of the pressure on the defensive backs. And if they keep doing that game in and game out, the turnovers will come.
I hope so, because they have to start forcing turnovers. If they don't start forcing turnovers, they're dead in the water. I don't care how good the offense is looking. But it is encouraging, especially just because, I mean, this offense could not do anything for years and years and years and years. It's been a disaster, a complete wreck. They had John White IV, thank God. Otherwise, there'd be nothing. Absolutely no offense to speak of whatsoever. So the running game's looking good, and passing game's looking good. And you know what? I know you don't want to put too much stock in it, but that receiving core is really good. They are fast, and they're good, and they've got hands. I mean, you've seen Drez catch balls that he would have dropped last year and years before. So that's good. Plus, the Pac-12 is down right now. I mean, they're not. It's not looking as good as it has been in recent years. So I don't, by any stretch of the imagination, expect the Utes to win the Pac-12. But I do, honestly, I think they're going to surprise some people.
Well, I think they'll surprise some people, and you're right. And the receiving core is greatly aided by Kenneth Scott. I mean, you saw it on numerous times in the red zone, 2 touchdowns, 6 receptions, 77 yards, 36 for a long. He's just big. He is 6'3", 6'4", can jump, has strong hands. That's what and Drez Anderson played well too, but he is a different receiver. He's a speedy, throw it out there, I'll go get it, right, type of guy. What you need in the red zone, 30 yards in, even a little outside, is the big guy who can say, look, man, I'm throwing it about 10 feet, 6 inches up in the air. This guy corner is 5'8". Do your thing. And with Kenneth Scott back, that was a big part. I think the Utes would have had a lot more success last year if Kenneth Scott was available.
Definitely.
Adding him, and of course Wesley Tonga, our tight ends, when they're used, perform well. And the running game was there too. I mean, Bubba Poole, 13 for 60. I still get worried every time Travis Wilson takes off. He had 11 carries for 50 yards. I'm just concerned for that guy's health.
Me too.
I want to see him throw it away or slide.
This is a good thing. Typically, when you see it in quarterbacks, it's not a good thing right now. He is not shying away from contact.
I know.
He is freaking initiating contact.
I know.
He is diving right in. He's not sliding. He's not doing anything to protect himself.
I know.
And normally you'd be like, yes, that's awesome. But man, he had a brain injury.
Right.
A brain injury.
And he's been injured a lot besides that.
I know. He's got to protect himself.
Yo, man.
I love the guts. I love the heart. It's awesome. But if you go down, we're dead again.
Yeah. I want to see you get on your fanny and not take another hit or run out of bounds.
Right.
Look, leave it to the running backs and the tight ends to be tough guys and run people over. Travis Wilson, please get down.
Why isn't Booker the starting running back?
Man, he's got speed, right? He's broke a few.
He is just looks so much more impressive to me. And Bubba Poole's look great, but he's looked so much more impressive to me this year. I don't understand it.
Well, I think you're going to see a combination of all those guys playing. Why ride one when you have 2 or 3? And that's been common in successful seasons for Utah in the past.
Definitely.
2 weeks away in the big house. We'll preview the game next week. Excited to see what the Utes can do on the road.
And Michigan's not looking very good. So even though since they've been struggling and we'll talk more about this next week, but even though Michigan has been struggling in recent years, they don't lose at home. That's the
true.
one
I
thing.
mean, you can't count them out. Look, Notre Dame wasn't very good the year we went in there.
Right.
Got the early 7-0 lead, and we lost. So, let's see how practice goes this week. Let's get through the next 5 to 7 days without any injuries and head to Ann Arbor, get a W. We'll preview that next week.
All right. Another bumper. We'll be right back. It's Dog and Deuce on KPatter TV and doganddeuce.com.
Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. Just search at Dog and Deuce.
Twitter, you are at Dog and Deuce.
I am.
That's your main feed. I'll jump on there to promote the show once in a while, but not very often. So pretty much everything you see comes from you.
Yeah, blame me.
Blame it all on you. You've not been doing much on Twitter.
Hey, I'm
What's
trying,
up?
man.
I'm trying. You know what? I'm usually the one who's slacking on this thing.
Hey,
I'm
I
killing it.
will
I'm killing it.
promise improvement and hatred pointed at you. At you.
I made a lot of enemies this week. I won't,
Yeah,
won't
you are.
deny. I am at A Martindale Film, so check us out. Give us a follow. Let us know what you think of the show. We got some tweets to read a little bit later in the show, in our next segment, so stay tuned for that. We're also going to talk about Roger Goodell. Surely you've heard about it. He is just in so much trouble right now. The court of public opinion is really down on him. So we'll talk about that and give you our thoughts on that whole debacle. There's no other word for it.
The Ray Rice debacle.
The Ray Rice debacle. Man, time is going fast. So let's move on to Utah State.
Last but not least, them Aggies.
Last but not least, they did what they're supposed to do. I mean, honestly, I would have liked to see them allow a lot less points. I mean, I think 20 points. It was 40-20, I think is what it was.
40-20, yes, sir.
40-20. Chucky Keaton is not the same player he was. Honestly, I'm going to put a lot of that on the offensive line. I said it last week. I hope I don't have to say this all year long. I think his completion percentage is like 50%.
Yeah.
It's not good.
I mean, look, he's coming back from an injury, and when you're not getting protection and you're coming back from a knee injury especially, you're going to be hesitant. You're going to
Definitely.
struggle. 20-40, they did what they had to do. I think that's the most important thing and probably what Coach Matt Wells is focusing on right now throughout this practice week is, look, it isn't what we wanted, or it is what we wanted, maybe not by the point margin that we wanted, but 40-20 is still a win. We're at 1-1. Let's get let's get after the Demon Deacons this week, and then move on to WAC play and see where Mountain West play. Pardon me. Whoa, sorry. Oh, hands up.
That's
hands up, man.
An insult.
I'm sorry. Mountain West Conference play.
They put all that work into getting out of the WAC, and you just throw them right back
Mountain
in it.
West Conference play, and see what we can do from there.
All right, yeah. I mean, Wake Forest this week, I don't even know what to say about that game. Fortunately, the schedule's looking a lot easier than it was. I mean, opening up at Tennessee, even though Tennessee is down, that's still tough, man. It's still tough on the road, national TV, a lot of pressure. It's going to get a lot easier. Unfortunately for you, your prediction of 11-1 is probably not looking too good right now.
Hey, we'll see. I mean, I think the big concern, along with the offensive line up there in Logan, has to be the defense. Although they won 40-20, I mean, the quarterback for Idaho State, I can't remember his name right now, passed for 300 yards, and they did have 3 interceptions. Chucky Keaton only came in at 116 yards on 13 for 30 with a pick.
That's not good. I'm sorry. Against Idaho State, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, it's a typical performance, but the defense, look, they need to not be giving up 408 yards to Idaho State. So my 11-1's looking difficult. I remain strong that they will right the ship and win this game out. It starts this week again.
So you
versus
think
the Demon Deacons?
You think little by little.
They'll get
Well,
better.
I mean, you notice. I don't know if you noticed this, but on their website, for their football schedule, they've scheduled in the Mountain West Championship.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know.
Confidence,
that.
man.
Confidence.
Confidence.
I mean,
confidence. I think the
It's
U.
not looking
I think
good.
the U did that. No, the U didn't do that.
no.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, come on.
Hey, you
You
might
can't
as
even
well
make it to a bowl game. Maybe when you make it to a bowl game, you can schedule in the Pac-12 championship game.
And I don't know. I'm like you. I don't know a whole lot about Wake Forest. Gosh, my speech is off tonight. Other than like 5 years ago, they were really good.
Yeah.
The ACC is here's
It's a
the
basketball school.
thing. That and the ACC is really top heavy when you're talking
Sure.
about Florida State. Maybe even occasionally throw Georgia Tech in there. In the past, Virginia Tech, etc. But Wake Forest only pops up with a really good team once every 10, 12 years.
It's a basketball conference, a basketball school.
The national champs are out of the ACC.
Well, okay, but that's you can't even really count them because
when you're holding the dang trophy.
I get it. Okay, I get it. All right, you made your point, but it's Florida State and the rest of the conference. That's
Duke
it.
went to a bowl game last year, man.
Well, good for
David
them.
Cutcliffe has got
Yeah,
that
when's
program
the last
on
time
the rise.
they've been? When have they ever been relevant in football? Ever?
When Steve Spurrier played for him.
Okay, when was Steve Spurrier?
Yeah, the
He
old
was
football
old
coach.
50 years ago.
Hey, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Just saying. That's all.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Sorry, Aggie fans. I know. You know what? Next week we'll have a lot more to talk about for sure. And this will be a good game to see what they can do. I got the Aggies winning, but they're gonna have to get together. They really are.
Again, I'm gonna go with the Aggies. I think the schedule favors them in the first few games, minus the Tennessee going into a tough situation.
And
out
minus
there.
BYU. I mean,
they'll be ready for BYU. You don't worry.
honestly, I do expect them to be ready for BYU.
I'm going 28-21. I think it's going to be closer than we're thinking. And especially, look, if they can't block Idaho State, the offensive line can't block Idaho State. I know for a fact Wake Forest may not be that great at football college, but they're better than Idaho State.
Definitely.
So I expect a closer game, 28-21.
That's
Aggies.
about, you know what? I'm going to go with your score. I don't do the score very well. I don't do it very often, but that's about where I'd put it. So, all right, let's play another quick bumper. We got tweet. Oh, man, we got a lot to pack into the last of this show. We got tweets, listener feedback. We have the Roger Goodell thing, and we got our NFL picks. Week 1 was bad, really bad. Dog and Deuce on KPATO TV and doganddeuce.com, as well as Stitcher and iTunes. Give us a hit up. Let us know what you think.
What do you think? Call or text the TNT voicemail and text line at 801-47-SPORT and tell us what's on your mind.
We got something to give away, right?
We do. Give us a call. Best take after this week's games, and that's just BYU versus Houston or Wake Forest versus Utah State or any collegiate game. We'll throw it out there. Or a Ray Rice take, something special.
Just if you have a good take.
Something good. It's got to be good, though.
And it has to be good, yeah. And give us a call. Leave us a voicemail.
Right.
It can't be a text. We love the text too, but it's got to be a voicemail. And give us your take on things. Doesn't matter what it is, but it's got to be good. What are we going to give them?
We want to put some zen in your life. We'll give you Phil Jackson's recent book of last summer, 11 Rings. You can look at how many he has and wish you had one. Maybe you'll gain some excitement and win a ring by coaching your children after you read this book.
You know what? I know we got a lot of Phil Jackson haters. You can burn it.
No,
burn
we
it.
Don't support burning books.
Well, I wouldn't mind burning that book.
No. You have to read it. It will bring you zen.
It is a good book.
It will bring you zen.
In fact, I read his first book too, and that was actually pretty compelling.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie.
He's a smart guy, whether you like him or not.
He's a little arrogant.
He's good with the pen.
Good. Yeah, he is good with the pen.
I mean,
definitely.
So we're not going to support burning books. Please don't ever say that again. That's awkward.
Burn it.
But leave a take. We'd love to get you that book. It's a good one. It's worth a read.
Definitely.
And you can feel overwhelmed by his 11 rings right on the cover.
Definitely. Again, that the voicemail number is 801-477-7678. That's 801-47-SPORT. So hit us up and give us your take, and you'll get this book. It actually is a good read. I'm kind of making fun of him because I'm not a huge fan of him, but it is a good book, and he is actually a pretty compelling author. Absolutely. Okay, so let's move on to the NFL. Actually, first, what I want to do is we've had a debate. We started a debate last show, and it was actually at the very end of last show, and I wish we would have got to it earlier, but it just kind of came about at the end. Right. And it was, what do you prefer? Do you prefer college football or the NFL? Because this is a football crazy state. It is. And I love football, and you love football. But, there's a lot of people are pretty passionate about this. You like the NFL better. And we're using better in a way that I don't know. It doesn't mean that you don't enjoy the other one. We're just asking what you prefer. If you had a choice, I really love Utah Utes football a lot, and I'm stoked every Saturday. But for me, it's no different with any sport, okay?
I want to see the best of the best play, and I
Sure.
enjoy watching the best of the best play. My heart's in every, Utah game. I'm there. I'm screaming. My 1-year-old gets a little scared when she sees me, frustrated by a bad play, and I'm sorry for that, Annabelle, but I'm working to improve it.
Father of the year.
Trying. But let's be honest, man. All the guys who are working in college are trying to get to one place, and that's the NFL.
True.
It's like, what do you like better, the Anaheim Angels or the Salt Lake Bees? I love them both. But, man, if I had my choice of which I had to watch, I'd want to see the Angels,
Sure.
the best players.
Sure.
So that's where I stand.
And that's kind of how I am too. I mean, I would rather watch college football. I'm a college football guy, but I do love the NFL as well. Based on some of the feedback we're getting, people aren't as, it's not quite as even for a lot of these people, surprisingly.
Right.
First of all, we want to friend of the show, Austin. He is at Utah Jazz Austin, and we're just going to read a couple of these. We got tons and tons over Facebook and email and all that stuff. But Utah Jazz Austin, he said, as far as the atmosphere goes, he likes college. The product, he likes the NFL. So, I responded and said, would it be different, do you think, if you had a team, if this was an NFL city? And he said, nope. Historically, been more excited for college, but the last few years have been even. So, and we had some more. Another really good friend of the show, Ryan Mortensen. He is kind of split here. He says, first, he likes Utah State. Second, he likes BYU. No, excuse me. I butchered that. First, he likes Utah State and BYU. Second, he likes the NFL. Third, he likes the remaining college football. So he's a team guy, definitely.
Right.
Matt Quinney, another great friend of the show. He is all about college football. 100%.
That's because he likes the Dallas Cowboys.
Exactly. Well, and then he said, college football, 100%. Of course, I am disenchanted with my Dallas Cowboys.
Right. I mean, and I'm just maybe assuming, and I don't know if Ryan Mortensen likes the Jacksonville Jaguars. Sure.
No, he is a Vikings fan.
Oh, okay.
Vikings
Sorry.
fan, yeah.
Sorry. Same sort of
That's
boat,
right.
man.
That's
Same
right.
sort of boat.
Hey, but there's
You
another
know-
Vikings fan in the state. There's not many of us.
That's true. Although I know quite a few Vikings fans away from you. My uncle, big Vikings fan. A guy I know named Primo, big Vikings fan. I don't know what that says about Vikings fans or not.
guy named Primo.
Right, that's what he goes by, man.
I like it. I like it.
He asked me for cigarettes every day on the street.
I kind of wish my name. I might go by Primo. I might
No,
steal that.
stick with what you got.
All
It's
right,
working
all right.
for you. Look, I hear where everyone's coming from. It's hard for me to say which I like more.
Sure.
I just know
Well,
that when I watch, I can watch any NFL game and almost be entertained. For me, that I have to watch certain college football games.
Well,
to
that
be
makes sense. But
entertained.
there's a ton more college football teams. I mean, and you're having a ton more matchups, and so that definitely makes sense. But here's a great point that Matt Quinney brought up, and he is at Matt_Quinney, and Ryan Mortensen is at. Excuse me, my screen is kind of screwing up here. Give me a second. It's loading. My internet's slow. But Matt Quinney says, fantasy football has ruined the fandom of the NFL. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
I agree
That's
with
why
that,
I
too.
don't play fantasy football.
I do play fantasy football.
See, I don't because
In fact,
you know
my
what?
fantasy football is actually in the show's name, so you better get involved, buddy.
But no, I'm never going to be involved because here's the problem. And we've talked about this before, and I agree. It's ruined it because you have people saying, for example, they take Tom Brady on their fantasy football team, but they love the Miami Dolphins. Well, this is an inherent conflict. I want Tom Brady to throw 10 touchdowns versus the Miami Dolphins, but I want the Dolphins to win. That's not going to happen, although the Dolphins did upset the New England Patriots this last week. I don't like fantasy sports, man. I like to see I like to watch them. I like to watch everyone compete, and the only thing I care about is the Bears lost to the Buffalo Bills.
That's a problem.
And like I told you before the show, I was considering that we should type up a letter on some letterhead and send our invoices for Sunday Ticket to the Chicago Bears saying, look, man, I spent this money because I want to watch all your games. I'm a big fan.
You need a refund.
Losing
You need a
week 1
refund.
to the Buffalo Bills at Soldier Field is so disgraceful. Send me a check and we'll call it even.
Hey, I'm with you, man. They owe you. They owe you.
After having to watch that, which I paid for, you're dang right they do. I mean,
yeah.
you know,
It's tough, man. You know, being 1-0 feels pretty good. I wish you could understand what that feels like,
Me
because
too.
it feels good.
Right, it does.
I mean, we may not win another game the rest of the year, but 1-0 feels really good because anything is possible at this point.
Right, undefeated, still realistic.
It's still, yeah, exactly. It's still in the realm of possibility.
Yep.
And last thing, Christopher Anger, another great friend of the show, man, good friends, the show chiming in, and he's gonna kill me because I'm gonna mispronounce his Twitter name. It's at Fuegote.
Fugote.
Fugote,
I think so.
but it's Fuegote.
Gote.
Fugote.
I think so.
Okay.
If we
All right.
butchered
Sorry,
that,
dude.
we sorry.
Sorry, man. My bad. And I know even in his description, I think he says this is how it's pronounced, idiots.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't say idiots, but he says college football and it's not even close.
Right.
Not even close.
Yeah. I mean, sure.
There you go. I win.
I can't
I
argue
win
that
again.
I love college football as well.
That's true. Okay. Let's move on. This is going to be the last segment. We've got to kill this, man. We got 12 minutes.
12 minutes.
And we got to do our picks and talk about the Roger Goodell thing. So let's start off with Roger Goodell. Holy cow, man. This thing is just a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. He has dug himself in such a big hole. I'm sure everyone's heard about it, but just in case, let's reset it. The original Ray Rice videotape came out. Roger Goodell gave Ray Rice 2-game suspension. Everyone was up in arms. Not enough, not enough, not enough.
Not everyone, but some.
I would say most.
We'll go 50-50.
Okay. Well, I don't even I think you're wrong, but
Okay.
what
What else is new?
If they weren't outraged, then they're wrong. I'll just say that. There's no denying it, in my opinion. So then Roger Goodell comes out and issues this, and the NFL, I guess, issues the new domestic violence policy, league-wide policy, which is a lot stricter, a lot harder. The first instance, you get 6-game suspension. After that, you're banned.
Right.
Then this new Ray Rice tape comes out, and which is footage from inside the elevator that actually shows him knocking out his fiance, his at the time fiance.
Right. Here's a point where I would like to insert the fact that although I don't support TMZ and what they do on a regular basis, they were the ones who got this tape and leaked it. So sometimes
Unreal.
even the tabloids create real news. It's become it is now not just a sports story. It's, carried over into nightly newscasts, whether it's with Diane Sawyer, but she left. I can't remember all the guys and gals' names who do the nightly newscast.
I think it was on CBS News or something where they interviewed him.
Yeah, I mean, it has really hit home, and the real questions become, after we see this footage, people, he's given a cut by the Baltimore Ravens, no longer a Baltimore Raven, and he's indefinitely
and
suspended.
then Roger Goodell says, we got it wrong, we didn't see this videotape, and he's indefinitely suspended from the NFL. But then, just today, an unnamed law enforcement member, I don't know what you call it, said that they did deliver the tape to the NFL, and they got confirmation that the NFL received the tape. So, which indicates that Roger Goodell, when he stood up and said, we didn't have this tape to begin with, it indicates that he's lying.
Right.
So the debate yesterday was whether he was incompetent or a liar. Today, it's pretty much firmed up that he was lying about it, or that the NFL organization is run so incompetently that such an important piece of evidence didn't get to the top.
Right. I mean, this is like a PR nightmare.
Oh, it's
and
a
it
disaster.
talks so much about, it makes you look bad going backwards.
Definitely.
Because look, last week, not only us, but everyone's saying, wow, the NFL is responding. They heard the cries of 95%, we'll go with your number, of the public saying that Ray Rice should get more than a 2-game suspension. You get 4 games for smoking weed and only 2 for hitting your fiance, wife, girlfriend, whatever. We're not cool with that. And so we think he's responding in a way, again, only what seems to be PR, but at least responding to the critics, the fans. And then this comes out that they had possibly, and in my estimation, probably seen this video, if not before they gave the 2-game suspension, definitely in between the time they gave the 2-game and then responded with the new domestic violence
The
policy.
new domestic violence policy obviously was in response to seeing this tape, right? They're trying to preemptively strike out any backlash.
They knew, this
But
is going to get leaked. We got to do something.
My question is the same question I had since the second video leaked. What did you think happened in that videotape, in the missing videotape? In the first video, he's dragging her unconscious body out of the elevator. What did you think you were going to see? What was on that tape that you didn't expect to see? I don't understand it. Like, you gave him 2 games for dragging her body. You knew he knocked her out. What made this so much worse than what? I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me.
And we don't know what was said by Ray Reyes to the commissioner or the Baltimore Ravens or even his fiance, because she's been at every press conference after the incident.
Sure.
She could have lied and said I attacked him. I think they were hoping that sort of thing. Maybe they got that kind of information. Doesn't excuse it. 2 games is still too weak of a punishment for this sort of crime.
Right.
But that could have happened. The bottom line is, look, it looks like a cover-up because within hours of this video being released, the Ravens have cut him and he's suspended indefinitely. It was like they had the letter lined up in the email queue waiting for it to come.
Definitely.
Oh, it's here today. Bing. Yep, you're indefinitely suspended and we're cutting you. It just seems to have happened all so quickly in a way that makes at least the league office look like they knew about it. And you got to start to wonder about the Baltimore Ravens as well. Whether or not they knew more than they're letting on. Of course, we may never know.
But my question is, why would you cover this up? Well, I mean, not if you're the Ravens, but if you're the NFL, why? I mean, it's obviously did, but why?
Because you know what? And it's an unfortunate part of our society. You say, why does everyone need to see it to know what happened? Because it was that bad.
It was that bad, but that is when I saw that tape, it's exactly what I expected to see. Exactly.
Well, you know what it was? When you see that, I know it's what we expected, but when you see that tape, you're sick to your stomach.
Yeah.
Women who the NFL are trying to bring into the fold, and this is what, and we've talked about this before too, bothers me about the pink ribbon days and all that. I appreciate the cause they're going to. It seems like a PR gimmick rather than they really care about breast cancer. They're trying to bring women into the fold so the husbands will be allowed to go to the game. They can get a jersey, a Clay Matthews, or I don't even want to say a player's name, of their favorite team for their wife that fits nice and has pink on it and looks good. They're trying to get more money. And when you see this, especially if you're a woman, you don't know if you want to be a part of that, have that association. You don't know if you want to spend money on a jersey this year for your kid at Christmas.
Great point. Absolutely.
And so they, the main reason is when you see that footage, you're concerned about the money. And it's unfortunate, and it's the wrong way to do business.
It's the world we live in.
But that's the way the NFL always does business.
Yeah. So we are definitely running out of time. Last question, like 30 seconds. Should he be fired? Should Roger Goodell be fired?
Boy, it's not my decision. I don't know if he should be fired. I don't think he will be fired. I can tell you that much.
I think it's a possibility. And honestly, I think he absolutely should, because this is a bad enough instance, but he has mismanaged this league completely. I mean, he's proven he doesn't understand how the game's played. He doesn't understand how the rules should be governed. He doesn't understand how players interact with each other. I mean, when he was going after Sean Payton, he made the big case that he should have known what was going on with Bountygate, and now it's him. I mean, he's just mismanaged virtually everything you can possibly mismanage. This is just one more example of how incompetent he seems to be.
Well, he does look like a hypocrite, and that's a good point. Sean Payton, he said, you're the head coach. You need to know what's going on in your locker room. No excuses. Right. Well, Roger Goodell, if that's the case.
I think that's a pretty direct quote, too.
Yeah, you're the commissioner.
Right.
You need to know what's going on in the league offices. You need to have all the footage. I'm sure you could have got the footage before you made your initial decision. I think you should be reprimanded in some way, at the very least, by the owners. I mean, the owners are his bosses. Sure. But I don't think he'll lose his job. And I don't think it'll even be close.
This is a really bad PR
But
thing.
They're still making money.
Of course, but they're going to make money no matter who's in there, because the NFL is a hot product. It doesn't matter who they've got in there. They're going to make money. And, I mean, it's hard to believe that anyone could do much worse than what he's done.
I think the bigger question is, will Ray Rice ever hit the field again in this league?
That is a good question. And, well, I mean, I think, yes, he will. I think he's too
Probably.
good not
I
to.
think it's probably very likely.
Right, definitely. So let's we are really running out of time. Let's play a quick bumper. We'll be right back, and we'll do our quick picks. It's Dog and Deuce on Cape Outer TV and dogandeuce.com. I almost forget that every time.
This is Dog and Deuce.
Okay, let's make our picks for week 2. Week 1 did not look so good. You went an even 8-8. I went a pitiful 6-10. Ugh, that's bad. We've got 3 minutes, man. We got to plow
The
through this.
lead's only getting bigger this week. Steelers at Ravens. It's in Baltimore. Who you got?
I got Pittsburgh.
I'm going with Pittsburgh too. Dolphins at Bills. Dolphins coming off a surprising victory over the New England Patriots. Who you got?
Buffalo.
I'm going Dolphins. Jaguars at Redskins. Redskins lose. Jaguars blow an early lead. I got the Skins. Who you taking?
I'm taking Washington.
Cowboys at Titans. Cowboys made me look real bad. Titans played really well. Who
Yeah,
you
surprisingly.
taking?
I'm taking Tennessee.
I'm going Cowboys. Don't let me down 2 weeks in a
That's
row.
a bad move.
Cardinals
You
at
can't put your
Giants.
faith in Tony Romo. Bad
Cardinals at Giants. Giants looked awful versus Detroit. Cardinals comeback win versus San Diego. Carson Palmer leading the team to victory. Who you got?
Move. Got the Giants at the Meadowlands.
I'm taking the Giants as well. Patriots at your Minnesota Vikings. One team's 1-0. One
Patriots are
team's
gonna bounce
0-1. Who would you suspect? It's the Patriots.
Patriots are going to bounce back, right?
I got to go with the Pats.
You have to. You have to.
Saints at Browns. Saints had the early league in a division game week 1 versus the Falcons. Browns came back,
They did.
beat Pittsburgh. I'm
Surprisingly.
going with the Saints, though.
Yeah, I am too. New Orleans.
Falcons at Bengals. Who you got?
I got Atlanta in the upset on the road.
I'm going Bengals.
That's a smart pick.
Lions at Panthers. I think week 2 is a mirror image of week 1, even though Cam Newton's playing for the Panthers this week. I got the Lions.
I got the Lions too. When is the last time we picked 2 weeks in a row with us both taking the Lions? It never
Probably
happened.
the last time they played the Bears and Vikings in
Probably.
back-to-back weeks.
Probably.
Rams at Buccaneers. Disappointed in the Bucs' performance week 1. More disappointed in the Rams. I'm taking Tampa Bay.
I got Tampa Bay as well.
Seahawks at Chargers. Seahawks look good. Chargers struggled down the stretch. I'll go with the Hawks.
Going Hawks as well.
Texans at the Raiders. I'm taking the Raiders.
Oh, you're doing it again, huh? I got Houston.
Jets at your Green Bay Packers.
My Green Bay Packers are going to win.
I got to go with the Packers as well. Chiefs at Broncos. Alex Smith signs $64 million contract. Struggles mightily versus Titans. Loses. Broncos survive. Indy. I'm going Peyton and the Broncos.
You got to go Denver. Definitely.
Bears at 49ers. Unfortunately, I got to pick the 49ers, meaning my Bears will be 0-2.
Yeah, I got the Niners as well. Philly at Indy. Who you got?
I
Monday
got
night.
Indianapolis.
I do too. They fought. They had heart against Denver. Couldn't quite get it done.
Nope,
Man, we plowed through that. That's good.
we did.
That's efficiency right there. That's how we do it in Studio B on the Dog and Deuce Show. As always, you can find us online at dogandeuce.com. We appreciate everyone. We have had tons of new likes on Facebook, tons of new followers, tons of new viewers. We can't thank you enough. You guys make it a lot of fun. We do this anyway, but it's a lot more fun when you guys participate, so thank you. As always, you can call or text the D&D Show voicemail and text line at 801-477-7678. That's 801-47-SPORT. Send us an email to dogandeuce@gmail.com. I'm Dog,
I'm Deuce.
and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening.